Okay, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome you to this panel on AI, banking, and neobanks, a topic that's increasingly relevant as technology reshapes the financial industry in Chile and around the world. AI and neobanks are disrupting the banking industry by offering banking services entirely online and offer consumers benefits like reduced fees, faster loan approvals, and even early access to their paychecks. The use of technology and AI are allowing banks to provide a streamlined user experience, reducing customer turnover and friction. We have here today great panelists that will go into an insightful discussion on this topic. We have Fernando Araya, co-founder and CEO at Tempo. Tempo is a fully digital Chilean fintech that today brings online banking services to over 2 million users, combining technological agility and a focus on customer experience. Tempo is currently in the process of becoming Chile's first neobank with the goal of accelerating the country's financial and digital inclusion. We have also Diego Mazzola. He is Executive Vice President and CEO of Scotiabank Chile and Scotiabank Uruguay. With over 30 years of experience in retail and corporate banking, Diego leads Scotiabank's digital transformation in the region. He also serves as Global Chair of Scotiabank's Innovation Council and Chair of the ESG Committee for International Banking. Under his leadership, the institution has accelerated the adoption of AI solutions to offer increasingly personalized and efficient products. And we have Tomás Berkovich. He is co-founder of Global 66. Tomás is an entrepreneur and expert in international payments and remittances, and his focus has been to simplify and reduce the cost of cross-border transfers. His vision has made the company one of the fastest-growing fintech companies in Latin America. And moderating our panel today is Julián Herman, Managing Director and Partner at BCG. He leads BCG technology practice in Iberia, Central and South America. He has over 25 years of experience guiding global banks and fintechs through digital and AI transformation, and combines deep analytical expertise to help organizations innovate and scale. With that, I'll turn to Julián to get us started.
Okay. So first of all, welcome. Thanks so much for having us today. We hope this is going to be a super interactive, lighthearted, and positive panel. So again, we need your energy in the room here. Do you hear me well, right? So I can work with the volume, not with the tone of voice, so I apologize for that. So let's start setting the stage. And again, the first question here, it's, I'm a consultant, by the way. If I don't have slides, I'm mute. The first thing is, what's a neobank? A neobank, it's a digital-first bank. That's, let's set that stage there. That's what we're going to be talking about. And it's no surprise to anybody in this room that we've seen a huge growth in the last years. Here we brought 3 examples. I particularly didn't want to bring any local ones, but again, Nubank, it's growing like crazy. Neki, also born from a corporate, it's also doing extremely well. And when you look at what's happening here, when we're looking at the growth that these ventures are having, it's driven by mainly financial inclusion. We've seen, not necessarily in Chile, but in other countries, that this is one of the key drivers. The second one is the mobile first. So we cater when we take the bank to where your client is. And finally, pandemics. Pandemics left us many good things, many bad things, but definitely they increased the adoption. Now, stepping back. If we were to choose 4 key topics that we're seeing that are important today, the first one is digital experience. What our when we look at the people that are being more successful here, it's how do we manage to keep our customers engaged? How do we manage to delight them with this experience and turn the experience into an engine of growth? Not necessarily just a simple app, just turn them into something that makes them want to come to us. I think that we're going to hear great examples here of that. The second one, AI as a competitive advantage. I don't need to preach here how important AI is, but if you couple this, where we're seeing the digitalization with the banks and the neobanks and AI in terms of efficiency, personalization, automation, it's impressive. We're going to talk a little bit about open finance and the opportunities that this gives the established players and also the incumbents, and also the entrants. This is a super interesting topic that we're seeing around the world, and again, we're starting a nice road here in Chile, and it's up to us to make the best out of it. And finally, this is one of my other topics that I love, it's security. But how do we look at security, not from the problem, but how do we use security to build more trust, to build better business for us? And these are the 4 things that we're seeing, and we're going to be discussing with the panel. And without further ado, let's start with questions to our panel. And let me start with Tomás. Tomás, we've been talking a lot in the preparation to this panel, and we've been sharing the things that we're doing. And I would like to hear, what do you think is the role of neobanks in what's coming? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think this game is about how we can give the best experience possible for the customer at the lower possible cost. So it's a game, how we can achieve that. Today, there are many things happening. If we mingle what a neobank, digital-first, lean operation can do with AI, I think we can get there faster. And there are some things happen that I believe will happen in the next 5 to 10 years. The first one is global real-time payments. So today, in Chile, we have something that's not very common, and we're probably used to it. That's to have a local ACH real-time free payment network where we can, from when I can remember, I can transact instantly and freely to, that's not something that happens all over the world. Here in the US, actually, it's still an ACH system with different cycles, and you don't get your money instantly. Many countries are getting there. US is going with FedNow. We have Brazil that wasn't real time, now with Pix, a very, very successful example. Colombia is going with Breve. So that's the stage we're getting at, to have local real-time networks. But the next stage is to get global real-time payments. And that's, of course, tougher because today the network we have globally is SWIFT, and it's a communications network that it may take from 1 to up to 5 days, it depends when it's a holiday elsewhere in the world, to get a payment to the other side of the world. And with the technology we have today, that's not really logical. In Global 66, we built an inside network where you can transact in all Latin America from account to account instantly in whatever currency you want. And we've also used a technology that's older than AI, but from my point of view, it's underutilized, that it's APIs. Today, with Global 66, we connect to an API of another fintech or a bank in Europe, for example, and we are offering real-time payments to any bank account in Europe instantly, from Chile, from Peru, from Colombia, from Argentina, from Mexico, from Ecuador. So that's the first thing. We will get to real-time global payments in the next few years. Second thing, that's pretty logical, nothing new here, but AI for everyone. In the next few years, most of the people that work will use or should use AI to automate some part, at least, of their day-to-day job. Then we have personalization at scale. Today, AI is capable of processing huge amounts of data, internal, external, and be able to offer each customer like the best next action to do within any financial ecosystem. And the fourth thing is, I would say, is cost to serve. how do we get to a zero marginality cost of serving a new customer? And there, again, AI is crucial. Probably will get in the next, I don't know, it will be 5, 10 years to a point where maybe 60, 70, 80% of the operations of a company, let's say compliance, ops, customer service, whatever, will be automated. So humans will be like high-value consultants, probably. And then you can get to probably almost zero marginality, and then you get probably the best experience at the lowest possible cost.
Super interesting. A lot of things to keep here, and I think that it's a good segue also into to you, Fernando. Talking about AI, talking about financial inclusion, how are you guys doing it? What are you implementing in that sense?
Well, first of all, thank you. It's a pleasure being here to talk about neobanks and the transformative role of technology. In the case of Tempo, artificial intelligence is for sure a cornerstone of our strategy to advance on inclusion and also to accelerate our path as the first neobank in Chile. Currently, we apply AI in many of our processes and customer journeys, but specifically, I would like to point out some important enablers that we used to do that. The first thing to notice is AI is not magic, for sure, and one of the key points to address here is your technical architecture. So we develop a very robust technical architecture based on MCP protocols designed by Anthropic. This enables us the flexibility, the security, and manage robust governance.
MCP is agents, right?
MCP is a very robust protocol to run your technical architecture. It was designed by Anthropic. You probably know those guys. They're developing very interesting models in AI. So first of all, develop a very robust architecture. It's critical for your business. Then, to manage that, well, to be clear, in Tempo, we always set consistently ambition goals and leverage those through technology, particularly AI, to find solutions. That's what we do. I'll just point out 3 solutions. I know time is a matter very important here. So the first one is regarding expanding credit card access. And one of the challenge was how can we design a credit card to all the guys in Chile? We have an historical struggle that credit cards are only for a particular kind of people in Chile, basically 30 to 40% of population. And in this case, AI models to develop our risk scoring was critical to develop our current product that is called Tarjeta con Ahorro. With Tarjeta con Ahorro, for first time in Chile, anyone that can access a credit card. That's the kind of impact that AI can develop. Second is regarding, as Thomas says, regarding personalized. We develop with AI a hyper-personalized loyalty program for each of our 2.5 million customers. And you heard, well, 2.5 million customers is currently benefit with the solution that Tempo is bringing. And last but not least, you told in your introduction, is regarding security. We aim to deliver a highly secure yet efficient solution at scale, and AI is critical to develop that. And As the role of AI in banking over the next 5 to 10 years, I would like just to highlight 3 points. AI will be, for sure, I think, a catalyst for customer growth, not only to share our market share, to develop our markets, and also for productivity. Second, AI will, for sure, improve the user experience and enable greater personalization. And third, AI will be key ally in risk management and operational efficiency.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Apologize. Diego, sorry. You lead one of the key banks in Chile. You also lead the innovation board for Scotiabank in the region. You have a unique perspective here from the established bank that's reinventing and looking at different things that you guys are doing. Can you tell us a little bit more about these challenges from your perspective now?
Well, yes, thank you, Julian. The first things the banks need to do, or the analogic banks need to do, is to adapt. So the first thing I'm going to do is this.
Right.
And this is not a small thing for us, bankers. And my boss is here, so I'm not going to get fired. I want you without a tie. So, no, but honestly, thank you.
Right.
This is the most important thing we need to do, because these guys are running, and we need to catch up. And Solange is here, our regulator. And we're all part of the same ecosystem, and we need to do it, and we need to adapt in a safe way. I know we're going to talk later about this, but going straight to a 193-year-old bank, started in Halifax in the 1800s, towards a digital bank today, and the ability that, for example, our mobile app has today, modularity, gamification, AI, adaptable, all those things pass a lot of operational risk that we need to manage, a lot of training you need to pass through. It's a cultural change. And believe it or not, Chile is the most advanced country, digitally wise, in all Scotiabank footprint, and that's why I'm part of the Innovation Council in Toronto. So the good news is Chilean talent has been highlighted in Toronto, where our head office is. And we're starting to export things that we've been doing in the past few years in Chile to other countries in Latin America and into Canada too. So some of those things specifically oriented to AI, from installing Gemini in our contact center, which is Google, in our contact centers years ago with the chatbots. Today, when you operate with one of our contact centers, you're talking to a robot. But the next phase coming in the next few months is that robot that today is pointing you into a one-step resolution, you know, a link, I want an additional credit card, and the robot sends you a link and you click and then you operate. In the next few months, you're going to be able to do the same through an agent. And the agent is going to combine this with other complex needs that you might have at the same time and connect the whole bank through the same interaction.
An agent is AIs talking with AIs.
Yeah, obviously it's the next phase of AI, but again, through Gemini, through Google, and powered by them. So we partner with huge companies like Google, but also with very small fintechs like BioCatch, that I'm going there now. So we understand that we are a systemic bank in Chile. Obviously, we are a systemic bank in Canada, in other 30 countries. And we own and control a very deep database of customers. And that's our asset, our main asset. But in the other side, the fintech has a time to market. Yeah. You know, the freshness, the ability to connect faster to customer needs. And the only sustainable competitive advantage we have is to adapt to customer needs faster than your competitor. No? Yeah. You don't need to run faster than the lion, you need to run faster than your competitor. In order to do that, AI comes handy, and we are operating fast with that. So, for example, today when you go to a branch, or when you operate with operations in the back office of the bank, all of our employees in Chile, since months ago, almost a year ago, have Copilot, Microsoft Copilot built in. So you might say, well, that doesn't change much. And honestly, Copilot for us is to help us increasing between 15 and 20% the productivity of our own employees.
It's
But
impressive.
for example, in operations, we have 780 employees. And only implementing this and training people reduce the number of people in operation, not the number of people in the bank. It's the people that were dedicated in the back office that now can be redeployed into
Customer-facing.
facing
Yeah.
and adding value.
Absolutely.
That's an upskilling or a skilling that we need to do and to perform. And I think that's the main challenge we're facing now. Technology is advancing very fast, and you need to retrain people to do something different. So it creates different challenges. Going to fraud, for example, a very small fintech, BioCatch, when you open a app here in Chile, face recognition, your PIN, whatever, takes everything. But also, in a few months, it's operating now in Uruguay as a POC, no? as
Proof
a
of
pilot,
concept.
and it's operating very well. It will analyze how you press the buttons or how you press the screen on your cell phone, the angle you use it, and that's going to validate also with the PIN and your face.
That's incredible.
And online real time, and all that is AI. So I can enumerate a lot of other things we're doing, but this is part of what we want to redeploy in the rest of the bank through the Innovation Council, which is based in Toronto, 18 people from the whole organization, SVPs, EVPs, trying to do this on a more horizontal way, catching the best practices of all these countries we operate, the 30 countries, and
Expanding.
use it.
Wow, that's impressive. And I'm going to hang to one of the things that you were saying here, and I'm going to go to you, Tomás, ahora. When you hear AI, when you hear about the use cases, when you think, how do we go forward? How do we implement this in organizations? Is this hype, or is there something that we can do in the short term? What would you recommend to our audience?
Yeah, I would say 6 months ago, for me, it was nobody really knew what to do with AI. But I think in the last few months, things have been unfolding pretty fast, and they're emerging from different parts of the company. So today we have different already solutions that are adding value. We implemented the most common is AI for customer service. We implemented a month ago this, and it's already handling about 1,500 conversations per day. It resolves on its own 85% of the inquiries from the customer, and it has a CSAT, a customer satisfaction, better than a human being.
Wow.
Because of course it's instant. So
Yeah.
you have to wait for a human being to, even if it's WhatsApp, you have to wait for the human being to answer. And AI is as fast as you can be chatting with it. So that really has been amazing. And now the same was Diego was speaking. We are using the people to go more for sales, not for support. So that's amazing. The second one is compliance. So we implemented an agent for our B2B onboarding. So companies, today we can onboard a company in 15 minutes. So the AI agent, and now we're opening our onboarding globally. So the AI agent is capable of reading all the incorporation documents of a company and everything in seconds. And this, of course, it streamlines the onboarding process. Then we have our global fraud sentinel. That's our anti-fraud engine. That is, it has 4 different modules of AI. One blocks fraud accounts. The other one blocks takeover accounts. And the last one is it's able to block suspicion transactions in under 50 milliseconds.
50 milliseconds.
50 milliseconds.
That's
It's-
like Verstappen. Wow.
Yeah, so And then we have two more. One is developers. 100% of our developers today are using AI. To be honest, we haven't been able to really measure the amount of how productivity has increased, but we believe it's somewhere between 10 and 20%. That I think it's aligned with what Diego told us before. And the last one is AI for everyone. So today we have a global academy inside the company where we train people in different things, like from statistics to data, SQL, Tableau, whatever. And now we're training everybody in AI. And in the last 3 months, we've trained 180 people. So that's roughly half of the company within how to use AI in their day-to-day jobs.
Wow. Wow, super impressive. And Fernando, this also talks a little bit with what we were discussing before on education. Can you enlighten us a little bit on what you guys are doing, how you're dealing with the education part also?
Yeah, for sure. One thing first to point out is the matter of security. I think that's key point. And something that happened to us at the very beginning. We started with our first license, prepaid cards, and was one of the latest innovation in financial industry. So we said, well, what is a prepaid card? Is a matter of fraud or not? Or is just that's a matter of for credits, whatever? And we decide at the very beginning, this will be a matter of fraud. This is part of payments industry. So to get to know about it, we fly to Israel, where is one of the key hubs of security, global security. And there we learn a lot with a team. This is our beginning, 2020, 2021. This is a 5-year company since we founded. And we learn a lot what those guys were driving behind AI in fraud prevention and security. And as you probably know, we didn't have any money. but the one that we raised at the very beginning, it was actually to learn about it and to deploy our basis on fraud prevention and security. That was the early stage of our hyper security platform in Tempo. So education is very, very important. And, but go further from Chile. This is a good example of this. You need to be very clear where are the key tracks on the different stage that your company would like to set their strategy. In our case, security. So we went to Israel to learn about it.
It's interesting how the topic of cross-border pollination starts to come from your discussions. You talk about what we learn from abroad. You talk about a lot of what Chile is bringing to the rest of the world. So I think sometimes we're not optimistic enough about what we can bring. And Diego, here I'm going to continue talking with you about what are you learning from what's happening in the industry? How are you guys adapting that to your way of working?
Well, the evolution in the last, I would say, in my case, personal case, in the last 13 years, I was in corporate banking, CPA, MBA, typical banker, making syndications or DCM. Or
you used to wear a tie for that.
I used to work on that, many years ago.
He will not wear a tie anymore, Salvador.
2013, that I faced my first CEO position in Uruguay. Now I'm managing Uruguay again, but from Chile, supervising. But when you face a challenge, a big challenge, to the size that you need to extract more productivity to the same people you have that you know they are overstretched already, you scratch your head and say, well, what tools I can use? So back in the day it was agile methodologies. I'm talking about prehistoric, guys. Because you remember. But agile looks prehistoric But scrums are all over the place still
Yeah.
today.
Absolutely.
So those scrums now are going to be adapted to agents too.
Yeah.
Maybe because the agentification of organizations, it's a process.
Absolutely.
And the process of Agile, where 8, 10 people sitting in a table, you know, each of them bringing their own expertise, coordinated by the Scrum Master, remember, and putting papers on a board, you know.
The post-its.
And with that, you extracted a lot more productivity than the sequential, all
The waterfall.
the waterfall, you know. Then when there is a mistake, you ended with a mistake 3 waterfalls down, and then you have to go back and start again.
Yeah.
So with the Scrum, you avoid that. Now with the agents, you're going to have 3 people. One is going to be the product owner, enabled by AI, each of them. So that same Scrum is going to fly. It's like a Scrum in steroids. And you can apply that same system to a problem directly or to coding, for example. If you have thousands of people coding, no, engineers,
Yeah.
and those thousands of engineers, you give them this kind of organization, you're going to have a huge amount of productivity that you didn't have. And this is happening as we speak in most of the banks I know.
Absolutely.
The ones that currently are using AS400 from IBM from the 80s, we are currently using it too, but only to calculate interest. It's the only thing that core system usually today is doing.
Yeah.
But the middleware on top of that, that base, that old system is getting thicker and thicker through the microservices that connects through APIs, which are the bridges connecting to all the applications you need to do. And this is what is expediting. Obviously, this is a fix, what I'm saying, compared to 100% digital core.
Yeah.
So the analogic banks have a path towards the cloud and from the cloud to a digital core, but it's going to take a lot of years to do so.
No, it's a huge opportunity too. Challenge, an opportunity. And another opportunity that we have today, and here I'm going to switch gears a little bit. A couple of weeks ago, I was in London for the FinTech Week. And one of the topics that we discussed there was on open finance. And one of the topics here, and we're going to look at this from the opportunity more than the challenge, it's how the market is going to adapt to the new regulation in Chile. What are you more excited about what's coming? And again, I'm going to start with Fernando now.
Ooh, you put me in trouble.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think for sure open banking is a silent revolution. This will be a massive impact on our industry. It represents, as you said, I think, a unique opportunity to deliver more personalized, agile, comprehensive, and for sure competitive services. Actually, you came from BCG. I was reading recently a report of BCG that analyzed the economic impact of open finance in the countries that already implemented, and says that company adopting open finance models could see a revenue growth of 20 to 30% annually, driven by just better customer segmentation, increased retention, and the creation of a new collaborative revenue streams. In the case of Chile, the open finance regulatory framework is still being implemented, but very important advances have been made with the passing of the FinTech law. Great, we did it, and the work of the Financial Market Commission, which has been developing a technical standard inspired by the successful models. These guys took the best ones, the ones that were implemented in Brazil and UK. And for instance, in the case of Brazil, 40 million users are already actively using open finance services. That's the kind of impact that we are managing. So we really can't avoid the opportunity that we have, not just as a financial industry, as the impact is on growth for our country.
Yeah. Tomás, curious to hear what's your take on this one.
The first thing about open finance is that it's the best for each customer. Each customer decides, and that's, I think, it's the end goal. There are no barriers to change from one institution to the other. I choose which way I want to go, and it makes it much easier to do it. Today,
Yeah.
I tried to close an account a couple of weeks ago, and it was a real pain, real pain. You cannot do it in the web page. You cannot do it by email. You have to go to, probably not everybody, but in this particular bank, it was like that. So I think there's a couple of concrete things that are very interesting. First is probably we can get to instant KYC or KYB. So there's already another entity that verified this customer.
What do you mean by instant KYC and KYB?
So if, for example, we did KYC, and it's a customer of Global 66, and the customer wants to go to Tempo and close our account, we already did the KYC.
Okay.
So it's verified. And he can pull that data.
He trusts you.
He trusts me. We're both regulated. We go through all the process of onboarding, KYC, whatever, and he can pull the data of my customer and onboard him maybe immediately. Maybe a few steps. I don't know what exactly the law will say that we have to do additionally, but he can onboard the customer immediately. Another interesting thing is cash flow-based credit effects and pricing. You know, if I can pull all the data, again, Fernando can pull all the data from this customer, from Global 66, or from Scotiabank, or both maybe, or more in financial, he knows everything about the customer. So he can automatically segment this customer and offer him particular pricing for any particular product. I think, yeah, some things that will be a challenge here is, again, we go back to security, cybersecurity. There will be APIs connecting every financial institution in the way. So if there's a breach in the middle, who is responsible? So there are a lot of things to go there, but I think we'll be able to manage.
Diego, tell us a little bit about your perspective on this issue.
Well, definitely being a systemic bank in Chile and managing a lot of public deposits, it's very important to protect and honor our fiduciary obligations to protect our depositors and our shareholders. So we are very cautious, but the way of doing it is accelerating the APification of the bank. So what we're doing is creating these APIs. We started 2 years ago, actually, and making those APIs, the new ones, available for the customer from a single point of contact in the web, in our web.
APIs are like the sockets where you pull...
Those are the bridges to connect my microservices on top of my core, what connects with the bank today, and with the customer's app, or for example, I don't know, SaaS,
Absolutely.
an ERP.
An ERP.
So, for example, today, you already can consume an API from the bank, pull it from the net, on trade finance. So a company that is doing letter of credit or SWIFT every day can download that API through us and already connect with the bank directly. It's like having, remember the old host-to-host, no? There was this connection that it took, I don't know, a year to develop.
Sadly, I remember. Sadly, I remember.
Well, okay. or if you have SaaS as your ERP, today it's not available, but it's going to be available in a couple of months. Juan Carlos, no? How many more months? A couple of months.
Don't feel put on the spot.
It's in his balance scorecard, so I know that's going to happen. But anyway, the thing with SaaS is you are going to be able to enter SaaS as you usually go for, check your books or whatever, and you're going to have a tab connecting to Scotiabank directly, and you can check your balances, you get your monthly statements, or make a SWIFT through us,
Wow.
directly connected through us. So that kind of thing is done by APIs. And because of Open Finance, we have that today available in Chile, in Scotiabank. And slowly, this is going to go towards credit cards, personal loans, and obviously it's going to take a while, but until mid-2026, that we will start making it, available in the whole industry.
That's, again, we heard opportunities with the B2C client. We heard opportunities with the B2B client. It's cool to hear that this is something that we are excited about, and again, we're going to see opportunities not only with the app, quote unquote, but also with the corporates, and they're going to be able to integrate their ERPs, as you were saying. It's super cool. I cannot let you go without talking more about security, because we're talking about AI, we're talking about connections, all of these things without a proper framework, without the proper protections, could go wrong. Diego.
A lot could go wrong. Cybersecurity for us and generally operational risk took over our board, our management, the expertise we are looking from people today in operational risk is completely different. Back in the day, I don't know, 10 years ago, operational risk for us was a branch being robbed.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, somebody stole your credit card, and that's it.
That's it.
Today, cybersecurity is an industry moving billions and billions of dollars, especially combined with other parts of the new financial industry, like Bitcoin and other currencies that are not easily trackable and using new technologies too. So for the banks, is, I would say today, one of the most important subjects where we know we have to be at the top of our game, because it's a candy store for that kind of people,
Yeah.
So from being a strong defensor on our customers' data, for example, that is going to be crucial for Open Finance, up to the point of internal fraud, because it's not only external fraud, but also internal fraud. The more digital you become, more data is available in the bank from
Absolutely.
our customers. So you need to be also careful inside the bank. The pandemic gave us a lot of new tools to avoid snooping, for example, inside the bank, which is people looking for accounts or information on customers that shouldn't be looking. So we are very much evolving towards you can only see what you need to see to give service, and that looks easy to say, but not that easy to do in a system that is from the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay, remember that the core is from the 80s.
Absolutely.
So you need to keep developing those microservices. Those microservices are also to
Hitting the
control
back
your
end.
own people.
Yep, yep.
So we are moving in the bank towards online real-time audit and internal controls. That's something that has been part of the digital revolution too. We always think about digital evolution in terms of customer service or the mobile app or how you can sell more. But inside the bank, we are also moving towards the same goal. So I feel it's something that is consuming a lot more of our budget than it used to do, and a lot more of our time also in training than it used to do, and this is going to stay forever.
Absolutely. And the word training again. Education keeps coming back with these new technologies. And I know, Fernando, you are very also interested in this topic. What are you guys doing about it? Because it's a different challenge, right?
Yeah. As Diego said, the cybersecurity is undoubtedly one of the most critical challenges that we're facing, not just as financial industry all over. In this context, I would like to highlight several economies are building robust digital identities models using sophisticated technologies, tokenization and blockchains. in works public and private collaboration. This actually was one of the most important debate in the last Money 2020 in Bangkok,
Yeah.
where I was very inspired on the work that some countries are developing, especially Singapore, Malaysia, and Australia. They are actively developing a robust solution with public and private entities. I think we should be very proactive on that and move faster. In the case of Chile, I think we have a good base. If we ran the Clave Única, it's a good basic stuff, but we have to make it quickly, sophisticated. We all heard about the dimension, the impact on results and economic that fraud is building, not just for our industry, but take it also in the layer of national defense. You know? So nowadays, digital identity should be a priority. But at the case of Tempo, we have adopted a very proactive model, fraud-focused strategy built on basically some key points. Advanced fraud detection technology, for sure AI-based, cyber intelligence, red team operations, and customer-centric awareness programs. But that's not enough. So nowadays, we're moving forward, moreover, on this model to make an integrate operational risk lifecycle model. What that means. Basically, in our industry, have silos on risk management. So we have the risk management for credit, another model for regulatory compliance, another one for operational, and we are making the integration of that model, fraud prevention, credit risk, regulatory compliance. Just follow the life cycle of your client, and that looks like a very good practice. This approach enables a unified risk view and improve for sure efficiency and detecting on real time and respond to threats.
Super interesting. I could keep you guys, but I know that we're riding a tight ship here, and I want to keep us on schedule. So, Tomás, we discussed a lot of interesting topics. What would be your final recommendation? What would you say in one sentence? What's your, for this amazing audience that we have here, what's your recommendation for them?
So I think my main challenge, and I think most of us are facing a similar one. We talked a lot about mobile first before.
Yeah.
I think today we have to think of how we are an AI first company and how we train everybody to use AI, because again, what I said at the beginning, I think the winners in the next few years will be the ones that give the best possible experience to customers at the lowest possible cost, and AI is probably one of the most important tools to get there.
Absolutely. Fernando, one sentence. Should.
Besides Tempo? Okay. No, to be serious, I think the basic things is talent.
Talent.
Put a lot more focus on human capital. That's what manage everything. So the innovation, the technology, all of it is driven on human capital. We need to put a lot more focus there. I think that will take us solving the permission, solving whatever is driven by people.
Thank you. Diego.
I think we are in the business of managing trust, no? In order to be more trustful for our customers, for our regulators, for our depositors, for our shareholders, we will need to culturally change our people towards being in front of the customer adding value instead of in the back office doing admin. That's going to disappear in the next 5 to 10 years, and it's going to change a lot. But we're going to need more people advising in the right way to our customers. In order to do that, we will have to do a lot of training and upskilling. And that's something that we haven't seen before, ever.
Yeah.
Not even when we started with the PCs or the Excels or whatever. This is completely a different game.
Absolutely. And again, we're coming to the end here, but I just wanted to close with a couple of things that I took from you guys. We talked about collaboration and how we're seeing collaboration as an opportunity. We talked about people. This was a panel on AI and neobanks. Yeah, I guess you imagine it's going to be a lot more technical than what it was, but it was about people. It was about training, about bringing the people from what they were doing today that could be automated, but bring it to our customers. So I think it's for us, it's a huge challenge. I think it's a nice call to action for all of us that are here. Just wanted to thank you. It's been great having you here. Thanks so much for the invitation to the Invest team. What you guys are doing, it's amazing. Keep doing it. Keep bringing us. We behaved well. We lost a tie on the way. And super refreshing to see the ties coming out in the banks. Thank you very much.